Hello everyone, welcome to another video here. Today I'm going to be starting off a series that hopefully will continue, which is going to be some Expanding Fronts sort of community games. So from the Expanding Fronts Discord that you can see here, and probably going to have to ask you guys to just put in a bit of help here, because I just seem to have some struggles getting some games together. And they did manage to get one sort of game. It was meant to be a 2v2, but they managed to get like a 3v3 there on the Buble, which I'm going to go over today. But if you are looking to maybe get involved with this, these are multiplayer games, so they'll just be sort of scheduling them, getting a bunch of people together at a specific time, and then looking to play some games on some specific maps or types. And this is sort of being organised by the devs here on the Expanding Fronts Discord. So you'll find a link to join this Discord down below if you're not a member of it already. And it's in this community games here under multiplayer lobbies. So they just got these little threads here that are just different game types, and hoping people can sign up and then maybe get the games played. And when I've got time, I will go through them here on the channel. And without further ado, we're going to get jumped into this game here, which is going to be on a map called Baroonda. So this is Expanding Fronts, so you can see the berries are blue, everything looks wrong. They've got something called a tuba, which looks like a very small frog. So, gonna get started here. We've got some teams here. We've got Flagcap, Arnie, Hefraya, and Megatronus on one team. So we've got Hefraya here as the Green Gungans. Got Megatronus here as the Red Rebels. And where's Flagcap, Arnie hiding? They'll be over here as the Orange Trade Federation. And they'll be facing off against the mighty Fluffy Rabbit here, playing the Imperial Remnants. His pocket will be Attack or Dies. Attack lives in the Galactic Empire in the purple. And rounding things off, we've got Kiss M here as the Grey Wookiees. And this map's Baroonda. And I think there's something to do with like carbon vents or something, like infinite carb. I'm not too sure. Not too sure how it all works out. Because I haven't really mucked about with this map before. Maybe it's the rocks in the water. Oh, these. Carbon gas vents. So they did manage to get this implemented. So it's like an infinite sort of carbon source. So with some of the modern games that we've played here in GVG, as it gets to late game, the carbon has ran out quite quickly, sort of in the late game. So this is like a means to make the water a bit more relevant and give like an infinite source of carbon there. So it doesn't just become food and Nova with like traders for like infinite Nova and having to buy carbon to keep the farms going to get the food. But this is something to maybe like fight over, have some sort of contestment, and make the water just a little bit more relevant in the late game and holding these positions. So it's interesting. Imagine there's just a few scattered all around the map. And this map, Baroonda, seems to have a lot of food on it. You can see there's a diverse amount. These guys seem to be like little Eopies, 140 food. They got the Philumps there to lure, and you got the berries to fall back on as well after you've maybe eaten all the hunt, since it's a much slower gather rate. And the map's kind of open. The tree clusters look like it's good for you to maybe like do a sort of AoE themed sort of walling, you know, like a big sort of palisade around the base, sort of a perimeter around your base as such, rather than like just walling the map in half. But the center of the map seems very open around this volcano. What's nice about the volcano though is it's got all this Nova in the center as well, so there's like a reason to be out there, you know? There's a reason to build up there, take that as map control, and maybe use that as a launching point to put pressure onto your opponent's bases, and maybe even like cut them off, isolate them, and it would help when you're playing a much more objective game. But factors like that might not come in too much when we've got like a varying levels of skill in a game. What's more than likely to happen is that, you know, one person's going to overperform and maybe just finish off the players a bit too quickly. But we'll see how it turns out. See Hefraya here, munching away at these Philumps. I actually got up to 3 Philumps. That's quite a lot of food. 4 Philumps? Wow. And there's really good fish as well. Other than, like, you got these carbon vent things, but you've got these fish as well. There's just a huge amount of food on this map, which is really nice because there's a lot of water on it. It's good to feel like you've had a trade-off there. So you're losing a lot of space to like build buildings and stuff, have your farms and that, but with the fish, you know, you could get some shipyards there and make the most out of it. There's a troop centre there for Flagcap Arnie. One for Megatronus here as well. Not really seeing any other aggressive buildings on the other team. So they might be getting caught a little bit early here. If there's a power core follow-up and some units coming out of these. Oh dear. If he was trying to lure the Flump there with his scout, but it's not gone well. He's lost his scout now. Which means he's probably not going to see this troop centre that this Megatronus has built. But gotta be honest, looking at the way that Megatronus has sort of done his economy here, he doesn't really have a lot on carbon at all, so I think it's going to be a very long time before he can actually follow this troop centre up with a power core. I think he'd be very better served here by having a carbon processor and a lot more workers on carbon here. And just prioritising eating up these Pholumpusets first rather than getting onto the berries. The berries could be like the thing you do last. So you can see how Hifraya has done it here. Once he's finished off of his, all his Phulumps, he'll be eating the berries. And then, if necessary, maybe saturate a few farms in there as well, just to keep the food accumulating up to that 800 total for the tech level 3. So we do have a power core here. A little bit of a wall developing here for Fluffy Rabbit. I don't know if it's going to go up in time before some Mountie pressure comes his way. As you can see, there's a nursery here for Flagcap Arnie and the troop centre and the power core. So it should very likely be a Mountie on the way. Oh, he's actually doing trooper recruits here, which is interesting. On his way to T2, so he's just going to do like a normal rush here. So he's just going to build up a little force here. When he hits T2, he'll upgrade them to troopers, and then he'll put some pressure on to Rabbit here. Rabbit does have a troop centre down, but no power core as of yet. And he is on to T2, just about almost about the same sort of speed. So he might be able to deal with this pressure. Got Tankion, who's got a lot of farms, does have some nice shore fish here that he's got with the food processor, giving him a nice little stimulus of food. And he's completely opted to just not touch the berries though, and just go for all these farms, which I'm not too sure about really. Maybe if he was rebels, I might let him off the hook a bit, that one. But this is only like 100 carbon investment. They are a bit slower than the farmers, but you know, there's a lot of carbon to spend on all these farms early on. And he did miss this little frog. Maybe just keeping him around. Pet of the colony there. And I'm going to see the first tech building dropped here for Hifraya, heading on his way. Let's just call him Hunter, really. It's not even Hifraya, it's just like Hunter Fry. But for some reason I've always just called it Hifraya. So I guess he's just Hifraya. Just going to keep doing that. It's Hifraya. Live with it. Turret, very ambitious turret here with the troops just marching in. It's not going to go up at all. And a little bit of panic stations here for Fluffy Rabbit. He's got some trooper recruits who seem to be engaging this force, but they're not troopers at all. And these guys have got +1 on them as well. And it's just a bit of a massacre here in Fluffy Rabbit's base. These battle droids are just slaying everything. He's not really cancelled this turret. He's trying to get one up here, sort of at the entrance point of his base, but the troops can't just stand on top of it. It doesn't really guarantee the position of this other turret either. He's building up some troopers into the troop centre here, trying to get them out. Looking over at the other side of things, you can see that Megatronus has built up some forces here. But there's a pretty good wall off here for his wing, Kisem. And it looks like he's getting his buildings down and thinking about going off to tech level 3. There's a bit of a blockage here at the carbon though. He needs to sort that out. And some of these troopers here on the other side of things for Flagcap Arnie are killing off a lot more workers of Fluffy Rabbits here after finding his shipyard and food processor. We should see attack at Hifraya here, got their tech buildings down and just thinking about heading up to T3, and maybe they can help out these wings here in this game with the tech level 3 units that they get access to. And it looks like the few troopers that have been made here by Fluffy Rabbit, he's starting to clean up the forces within his base, but he has lost a lot of workers off of this. Mero's at home. What on earth are these? He's getting smashed by like mosquito things. Oh, they sound tilting. Horrible noise when you click on them. Suffer, just as I have. Lost the worker to that. Don't go too far out of your base or you get hit by the Skittles. As you can see here, he's got some 2 turrets up. He's very defensive orientated here, as much as he can be with TF. Can't really wall with the prefabs, but he's got a light wall here, just limiting access to the carbon. And he's got like a diverse sort of worker spread. Got shipyard down, getting a few utility trawlers here. Got food processor, getting some shorefish as well. And we can see that Hifryan has hit T3 and he's just going straight to the opposing pocket. So that'll be attacker die here, who's got to turn it down just to sort of add a little bit of a defensive layer to the where a lot of his workers are actually. The carbon processor and the Nova here. But this strike is on its way. Attack not quite T3 yet. Could be feeling the effects of dropping all this carbon and farms. But this turret might surprise Hifryan a little bit and he might take some damage if he's not paying too much attention to it. You can see it's 12 damage per shot there. It's going to very quickly get to half health. He has to reposition it. Luckily he's dodged about 2 of the shots that have come his way. But with a second strike mech now, it's going to be a lot of pressure onto attack here, and he has hit T3, so it's probably going to have to get out a mech destroyer here just to feel a bit safe with everything. There's a few workers having a garrison, causing a lot of disruption to the gather rate of the eco. The third strike mech now, so Hifryan just keeping the pressure on and just rallying strike mech after strike mech. Looks like he's dropped another mech factory now, as he feels a little bit more confident with what he's doing. And he's just trying to get a huge amount of strike mechs and just overwhelm attack here within his base. Not really seeing much on the other side of things. This guy's playing very passive now. Arnie not doing too much after his initial pressure. Damage is done, and I think he's just focusing on his own eco. Try to get himself up to T3. Mech destroyer out here for attack. See, he's chasing away the strike mechs out of the base here. And Hifryan maybe going to go to one of the other players now and do some pressure. Looks like he's heading over to Fluffy Rabbit now. I mean, these troopers are just not going to cut it. Does have these 2 turrets, but they don't really cover his economy. What he could do is move his carbon here. But this is going to be tricky for him to deal with. And it would have been helpful for attack to actually follow these with his mech destroyer. You can see these guys are just going into like annoying positions where they're split up. Just cause as much disruption as possible to Fluffy Rabbit's economy here. And we can see for Kisim he's got a airbase and some fighters, mech destroyer out here, but not really doing anything with it. He's just sort of building the units and playing defensive. Sort of playing like he's just waiting for an AI to attack him or something like that. Maybe he needs to get like another command center. The attack not really going to command center, but Hunter is just going to pull really far ahead of all these players. So he's done his strike mech progression, he's got his second command center up now, and he's just slowly building up his eco while he keeps these units out on the map doing some damage. I don't really know if he should have bothered with the second mech factory because he's not really like making use of it right now. It could have just been a quicker second command center. He never really built a lot of strike mechs, he never upgraded them either. I think he could have just gotten a quicker second, maybe third command center, and then added on a second mech factory and a war center. And then he could do some follow-up aggression in a little bit from now with a much stronger economy. And these strike mechs just get gunned down by Fluffy Rabbit's turrets here. These Mounties chasing them off, and they're not going to be able to contest that. You can try and micro it all you want, but you're going to lose. And down it goes here. And we can see the air from Kisim now, putting some pressure onto Megatronus here, who doesn't really have anything to deal with this. He doesn't have any anti-air troopers, doesn't have an anti-air turret. I don't even think he's T3, he's still on T2. So this is just completely horrible for him. And his pocket's not going to be able to help him, because he's on double mech factory here. He doesn't have any air. He doesn't have a heavy weapons factory to send him an anti-air mobile or anything like that, so he's just going to die here to his wing. You can see all the R2-D2s just getting gunned down in the streets. It's very sad to see. He's made a couple of anti-air troopers, but they're not going to trade very well against 4 fighters. It's going to need a lot more, like a sort of critical mass to deal with this amount. You can see there, quickly goes down. And things looking pretty grim there for Kism. For Megatronus. And we can see the Flagcap Arnie has hit T3, got a couple of artillery out, anti-airmobile, a few strike mechs, and the legacy troopers from before, building up a little bit of a force just to sort of put some pressure onto Fluffy Rabbit here. As you can see, there's not much really of a distance between the two of them, so getting that sort of lower amount of CC pressure on the wings here is kind of, it's ideal. Just keep the pressure on. They can fight over these resources and then take them. If you can knock him off this position, he can maybe get a fortress down, and he's going to lock Fluffy Rabbit out of the 2 ore piles on this Nova pile, which would be huge. I see Megatronus maybe thinking about catching up here by building the shipyard out of the way, since he's still got these fighters just patrolling around his base, killing off workers where he can. He has managed to get to T3 and build a turret to sort of guarantee the carbon, but he just hit the bell there. Probably needs to just fire all his workers onto the carbon now and just throw out some bolts, as many bolts as he can, try and catch up. Treat this like having another command center, because he's fallen very far behind. And you can see that the attack team is pretty much heavily focused on air here, since Kasem's going around with all his fighters, and Attack has built up a bunch himself now, and he's going to go straight to Flagcap Arnie's carbon line, where there's absolutely no defense for it. There's a turret on the other side of the forest here that's going to help out a little bit from Hunter's base here. But at the same time, he started launching his invasion into Fluffy Rabbit's base, killing off his turret here. A couple of troopers. But he's losing a lot of workers at home as he tries desperately to get up this anti-air turret, which I don't think is going to go up. There's too many fighters here. There's enough to basically just one-tap a worker each time. It's amazing to think that one Geo would do the same damage here, and he just loses all those workers. That's a huge loss of workers. That's really going to harm him here. He does, however, have a lot of units on the ground, and even more here just waiting to join the fight, so he might not be able to reinforce this army now the same, but there's not really much from Attack and Fluffy Rabbit to deal with this force. A few Mounties coming up here, but you can see that there's already a lot of strike mechs, and even more away to join. They've got really good upgrades too. The anti-airmobile here is going to chip away at the air, and they're trying desperately to deal with this force, but they don't really have anything to deal with it. They would need like a lot of mech destroyers to deal with this, I think. It's like a lot of mech destroyers and some micro. They try to use the fighters here, but there's still 2 AA mobiles. More strike mechs going to be joining this force too. It looks like Fluffy Rabbit is just going to slowly get obliterated here. I try to take down the anti-airmobiles, but with just T3 fighters, they take a lot of damage. They've not really been microing very well on top of them either. Cargo freighters being built here by Kasem. These are like stronger cargo traders that can like fly over terrain, and I think they do go a bit slower, but I think they've got like a higher amount of Nova that they can grab out from the spaceports. Attack got a very condensed base here. He's not really sprawled himself out too much, and Hunter on the other hand seems to be booming very well. You can look at the amount of farms that he's gotten down now. And the command centres. About 4 command centres with tons of farms, so he's pumping out a lot of workers, and he's slowly starting to put these mech factories to work as he builds up these mech destroyers. Maybe just going to plan a big force that he's just going to put as pressure over to Attack here, and just interrupt his ability to reinforce Fluffy Rabbit here and stop this invading force from Arnie. Arnie slowly building his workers back here. You can just see the corpses of them all around the finished anti-air turret. It's been a bad time. On the other side of things, Megatronus is slowly getting back in. He never really got any power to this shipyard, so he's not really made use of it at all. Got some workers here that are like fishing. I don't know if he plays Age of Empires and thinks that they could put this into the shipyard like you can the dock there. But that's a very long way for them to be going with food. They better to get them a food processor near. And again, still try to use the air to hold this, but it's not very hard for Arnie to just build a couple of anti-airmobiles, send them here to the force. These units have all got so much armor, the fighters are just not doing too much. They're such low attack, they rely on like a lot of bonus damage, I think, against the units they actually are good against. And I think Attack Rely is going to be in trouble here when these mech destroyers from Ifraya start making their way across the map and just walk into the bottom part of his base. And he's even going to be bringing some anti-air mobiles with him as well, which are going to shut down all the air that he's likely going to rely on to defend himself. Fluffy Rabbit meeting the Sketos here on the outskirts of the map. As he tries to hide his workers from his base now, he's pretty much abandoned it all. There's Arnie just killing off everything here. And Fryer not really paying attention to his army as he put it on patrol and it's walking back across the map now. So because it's walking back and Attack's going to build a sentry post, he's going to get advance notice of this army when it actually decides to come back across. See, Fluffy Rabbit has made his way into Attack space, just eating up his carbon here. And Kissam got a lot of units in his base, but not really doing anything with them. Could maybe come out and help Attack here, who's desperately going to need it here in the centre of the map when Ifraya is actually sending his workers ahead of his army here. Going to try and build a fortress here in the high ground. Grab up the centre here where the lava is and all the nova. And it's going to really spell disaster here for Attack, I think, when this army stops killing off the remnants of the Imperial Remnant player and comes and flanks Attack's base here. You can see the fighters coming across, desperately trying to stop this fortress going up, but you can see there's a lot of anti-air mobiles. 4 here, that's more than enough to deal with these fighters. And there's so many workers as well that even though he's killed like a couple, he has like 10 workers or something. The fortress is absolutely going up. And we're probably maybe going to see like a Famba shield generator come out of there, which is so strong in T3, and just double the health of all these units. Pretty much make it very unlikely that Attack can clean this army up. I would like to see Kissam maybe come and help him. Arnie's just full tunnel vision with the remnant here. Killing off the food processor and the prefab shelter. Giving a lot of time for Attack to maybe get his shit together and try and deal with this force. Forward shield generator though. Am I really seeing no Famba being built? Come on man, it's 2023. Fambas are the thing now. With time, build the Famba. Building an actual shield generator. For shame. For shame. Let's have a look at Attack, how he's getting on here. A lot of Nova, not much food. He's trying to get some mech destroyers out. Doesn't really have much upgrades in the sort of in comparison. Doesn't have any armor. Down there, some damage as well. They got the same range though. But with the shield generator being up here, it's gonna get the fortress. I imagine the Hunter should be on his way. He is T4 already, so could get some cannons out and just take down this fortress very quickly. Megatron is still doing his long distance fishing with his AI looking troop center here. No rally point, just sitting around the troop center. And still on one command center, it would seem. He needs to just get a couple of command centers and just start building workers 3 at a time rather than 1 at a time. That's really going to help you get into the game and give you more options. We see that Arnie has caught up a little bit. He's got a lot of boats out here. You see he's got all these aqua harvesters. Don't know if he's really made use of these carbon things or even found them. They're sort of scattered around the map. They're not everywhere. You can see the artillery's been upgraded to heavy artillery. And I think that's going to be knocking at the west side of Attack space and maybe going to spell disaster for him here. He's got a lot to deal with, and having gone like an air opener and played like a very contained base, he's not really sprawled out enough to have enough of an eco or military infrastructure to deal with these armies. And doesn't look like he's going to get much help from his teammates either. So like just being flanked here. The cannon's coming in now. Does have a shield generator up, but there's nothing to contest the artillery or the cannons, and they're just going to quickly kill off the fortress, the shield generator. And there's not really anything on the ground either. Plenty of anti-air. Kissam trying to arrive here with his air, but that's not really going to help. See his mechs are trying to come round now, but it's way too late for that. Looking like that will be the end of it here. And I think with 2 players down on this team, probably the end of any chance of them winning this game. And that'll essentially be GG for them here. So, Freya, Flabcat, Arnie, and Megatronus going to be taking the win here in the first Expanding Fronts community game here. It's 3v3 on Baroonda. So as I said before, there will be a link down in the description, which will be a Discord server invite link if you're not a part of that one. And of course there will be our GBG sort of community as well, where we just play like regular games of vanilla, and you know, some of the guys play Expanding Fronts as well. There's a few of the devs there as well that hang about there. So feel free to join any of those. And if you want to get involved with these community games, you'll find them, as I showed at the start of the video, you'll find that in the Expanding Fronts Discord. And hopefully we can get some more entertaining games and different game types like free-for-alls and Terminate the Commanders and stuff, and maybe see like some of the more unique aspects of the newer civs and Expanding Fronts. Because I think this one, it's kind of been more of a vanilla-esque armies and civs here, with the TF and the Gungans sort of dominating. Only sort of newer things we've really seen are the cargo freighters flying over here and just getting gunned down by the anti-air mobiles. Waiting for them to GG out of here, but yeah, I don't think it's going to go too well for Kissim here. He doesn't have anything to stop these armies. But anyway, with all that being said, I think I'm just going to call it here. And I thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Take care, bye-bye.